Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are looking at another devblog for update 1.101, and since there hasn't actually been that many looks at any new maps or really that many map changes in updates 1.101, it's nice to see there is at least something coming for naval. This is the Aleutian Islands, and what it is modeled from is a location between Alaska and Kamchatka. It was one of the targets of Japan's diversionary operation to capture Midway during World War II. It's going to be released in the next update, and as I said, if you actually have a look at the preliminary notes, I haven't actually gone over them on the channel because I was thinking of just waiting till the update is out and then just going over all of the notes. It seems like when it comes to maps, there isn't a ton of them being redesigned, there isn't a ton of them being changed, apart from some key mechanics when it comes to air realistic battles, such as the idea of not being able to destroy airfields anymore, only really being able to destroy bases, so therefore, you can't end matches as quick as possible. So it's always nice to see any new maps in War Thunder. One of the things which I cherish quite a lot when it comes to War Thunder is the maps, and the reason for this is because it's something that affects every BR bracket. It's always nice seeing new vehicles, it's always nice seeing new stuff when it comes to, let's say, the Sparrows, or the semi-active homing radar missiles, but the main thing is the maps. The main thing is the mechanics that affect everything, such as the volumetric shells which are coming to War Thunder in the form of ground forces. These are the main things which you'll see way more than something like Sparrows or something like R3Rs. So therefore they are much more important because you will have to learn them, you'll have to understand them. And that's what we're going to have to do with this map. The main features of this map is that it looks very similar to some of the other maps that we have in the game already, which seem to be the ones which work the best for naval. Ones which have a smaller area in the center, which has a bunch of little islands and little, areas of landscape, and then it has these outer, wider areas where destroyers can compete. So the idea is you have an area for PT boats, as you can see in the center of this picture, where they can fight between themselves and attack each other, but they at least have some cover from the larger ships which are going around the side. Now, one of the issues with this style of map is the fact that you have normally the capture points, one in the center of this and then two on the outer rims, so destroyers still struggle to be able to actually play stuff like this, because getting to the capture points is not easy for them, so they just end up, sitting on the outskirts trying to batter the other destroyers, and then once they get the destroyer advantage, they can then pick on the PT boats, and then maybe after that move forward to the capture points. Generally, my solution to something like this would just make it so the ticket bleed isn't as extreme, so therefore, if you get into larger battles with those things, then you would be able to last long enough to be able to get to the center of the map before the map is already decided, or before a torpedo can just end your day. There is also what seems to be an enduring confrontation version of this map. We've talked in length a few times about enduring confrontation and how, at least in my opinion, it would be the way that larger ships could come into their own into the game, especially if you do it correctly, so it isn't destroyers versus cruisers or cruisers versus battle cruisers and so on. You'd have to find a space for each of those, and as I've said many times, I would like to see some kind of timed limit idea put in, so therefore that can actually happen. So yeah, they are going to have some kind of enduring confrontation. We have the general layout of the map, but without seeing the objectives, without seeing what they're going to add to the map, it doesn't really matter too much what the map looks like until we know where the fighting areas are. But you can see through many of these pictures here how beautiful parts of this map are. One of the things that you can definitely credit gouging for when it comes to the map designers is the beauty of a lot of their areas. There's a lot of maps, especially in naval, which have so many intricate little details which make them look beautiful even though they aren't normally seen that much. Like if you think about this, right, this area here, they don't technically have to add an area like this. They could just move on and just make this like a rock face. But instead, what is decided is to give it a little bit of flair. And there is definitely something to be said about that. Another thing as well is one of the differentiating things between this and other maps is that the vegetation level is not high. Being in the area that it is, between Alaska and Kamchatka, there is not a ton of greenery up there. There's a lot of rocks, there's a lot of what I would say is dark solitary colors, and then you have a little bit of green in places, but it is going to be nothing compared to some of the other maps. But you can see even here we have a buoy, and then also the rock faces once again. Hopefully this map doesn't look washed out. This is one of the problems that you definitely have if you only have a small color palette on it. One of the maps from the northeastern European area, I think it might be the Norway map, can't remember its exact name, but it does have issues with this where, everything seems like it's one palette, so therefore nothing really stands out because it's just basically brown and a bit of grey, and then you have pillboxes everywhere which are also grey, so it doesn't look very appealing. Hopefully this map doesn't have the same idea. Obviously the colours of the map and the look of the map is very much secondary to the gameplay of the map, and looking at this picture, and at least if they take this layout and compare it to older naval maps in War Thunder, I can definitely see where the three zones are going to be. You're going to have an open one on the left side, you're going to have one around the central island here. It'll probably either be here, or it'll probably be here, or it might be the whole thing, and then you'll have one here. So therefore 2 PT boat favored ones, and then 1 destroyer one over here. That's normally how these maps go. And as an arcade player, I look at this map and I'm pretty happy with this, especially somebody who really enjoys rank 1 and rank 2. What I see here is a lot of openings for torpedo launches, therefore you can cut off specific areas and then go other areas. And since you have reloads of torpedoes in arcade, you could maybe set them up so they hit this area, and then you could maybe go around here and then push through, or maybe you could go on the long flank around here if you have longer range guns such as stuff like 40s instead of 20s, and try and get to the outer rims. There seems to be a lot of opportunities for cover, there seems to be a lot of opportunities to move forward, because if you just have an open expanse of water and you're a small boat, there's not really a lot you can do until you get smashed by a bigger boat. It's not really a fun experience overall. There is some other little features of the map which are really nice, such as we said, this lighthouse. This lighthouse is beautifully modeled. Whoever made this should be incredibly proud of themselves, and I've always wondered if we're ever going to get night battles in naval, so we can get stuff like this in some kind of form to actually be useful for what it is, actually creating the light to make sure you don't run into things. I think that would be kind of annoying in naval. I mean, I am definitely not a proponent of night battles and stuff like ground. I've had too many battles where I haven't had NVDs, and well, guess what? I'm just sat there in darkness, pitch black sometimes. It even happened to me yesterday on stream with the Chieftain Mark 10. I was just sat there going, why am I here? This is ridiculous. I can't see anything. So yeah, it's something that for naval I think should at least be considered, especially in arcade. If you have these light sources around the place like the lighthouse, why not try and use them? Why not try and use them to some great effect? One of the nice things about having a bunch of islands and stuff around the place and open water is that it is open to both styles of play. The other thing is will this actually fit stuff like cruisers, or is this another map which is designed from the idea of trying to facilitate the differences between rank 2 and rank 3 vehicles? Is it trying to fit everything on one map? The major cruiser maps that we've seen, the larger ones that we've seen, haven't really facilitated what I would class as fun gameplay. But then again, the question is, can you actually make that stuff fun, from my opinion? And maybe the answer is no. But at least for this one looks very much like a homage to some of the earlier naval maps, which I enjoy playing quite a lot. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Ambrosius McClellan, B. Young, Battling Bacon, Blackie, Chris Giltnane, Conte Baraka, Daniel Stanton, Elove Goat, Jay Wilt, Martinez, Trigger Hippie, Universe, Eugens Terry, and also I'm Devilish and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.